State of hockey.
Big shout out. Congrats to the Twin Cities on getting the hosting rights for the
Huge
World Juniors in 2026.
Can't wait.
I think we're going to see a serious ECH presence all throughout that tournament there.
No doubt.
In the Twin Cities. I think you should do like live pod, pre-post, the whole show right from there.
We're sleeping there.
We might have to. Yeah.
We're
the
not
fan.
leaving.
It's gonna be electric.
They're kicking us out.
I hope we.
Welcome back to Pucks in Deep, episode number 151. I'm your co-host, Connor Thelman. Joining me, as always, James Murray. How are we?
I'm great, man. We have
USA
gold medals around our neck.
USA's,
we didn't win the game, but I feel like we did.
We were there.
We posted
it feels like we were there, right?
Yep.
I was in Gothenburg. There's a lot of Swedes around us. Rutgers just running people over. Lane Hudson looks like he's Hercules out there.
Yeah.
I mean, everything connected for the fellas. Iceman, 2 goals.
Hudson throwing punches.
The BC line, like Gabe Perreault had 3 points. People just forget about it. Like everybody was dialed in.
Man.
It was perfect. It was exactly what we wanted.
And Bemidji State brought home a gold medal too.
Damn right. I don't know how much ice time he got.
I don't care.
But yeah, he was there.
Yeah,
he was actually there.
He was. Yeah.
Whole camp was there.
The team. Everyone contributed on that team. And that's what made it really special. And John speaks on this later in the podcast, which
huge guest
to announce JP
Jon Morosi
on the pod today.
Big time.
Couldn't ask for a better guy to cover the World Juniors and Team USA specifically. But he's on the pod today and he tells the stories. He interviewed obviously a bunch of them. Yeah. And that team went on to win gold. So got a lot of good stories from him
to all of
here.
that. We could have talked to him for the entire day easily. Yeah. Like we're gonna have to have him back on because
we didn't get his insight on the Twins offseason, but that's for a later time.
Or like could we, I don't know, bring back Dozier for one season. I just wanted to just lay that on him.
I just
see what he takes. But
I just want the Twins back. They are kind of back. They made the playoff game.
We're back. Yeah. Royce Lewis. We have Royce Lewis.
Most excited I've been about the Twins since Johan Santana was on the team. I'll say that.
Yep. We'll leave it there. But John was incredible. I mean, we talked to him a little bit before, like, how much college hockey do you know? And he said mainly Big Ten. And then he's just spitting NCHC facts at me. He knows a lot of hockey East. Like, the guy is, he's beyond an insider.
The insight he had on even the U18 players, just everyone in general. Yeah. It's just a great listen. So listen to him later on in the pod. And
you want to know who's in the upcoming
big
draft.
Fan of his work here at ECH. That we it's great.
Yeah, so
what he does for MLB Network and NHL Network is great for the game. So
reoccurring guest.
Yes, 100%.
Jon Morosi, big time interview there. So yeah, but let's talk about let's dive into college hockey this weekend. We're fully back, people.
Yeah, we are.
That's fair to say.
The players just gotten back too after winning the gold. So
that was sweet.
They should be. The Gophers are in action today, this Sunday, as we're recording here.
You think Snuggy's playing?
I think so. Just the adrenaline's so high. Him and Oliver Moore should be in there. Chesley.
True.
Rinzel, all of them, so they're ready to go.
Think they play with the gold on their neck?
I would.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah,
Talk about nails.
They're quick enough. It's not going to weigh them down too much.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep. So
fellows are in there. So we're recording this January 7th. Yeah, Gophers are playing, but a lot of the other. I think they're the only ones playing today.
Yep.
Right. Like
that's correct.
That's a sick game. All right, sweet. But
Stonehill's getting bag skated again.
So you're gonna lead with Stonehill on me?
I don't know who better.
This is historic. Like I don't. Someone's got to send this stat to us. They have lost. I mean, every game this year, every game last year. I don't even want to know what they were before D1. Like what qualified them
it's a
at
great
this
chance
point?
to
Like,
make some content with them. Turn the tide.
It really is. I think like at this point, you got to do something. Stonehill, have us out there.
But the rest of college hockey,
purple.
It's been
they're
an unbelievable
0-19.
year. As again, we talk about with JP on this, but. I don't know. Denver might be the scariest team in the nation. Michigan State's hot.
Connor Capone might be the scariest player in the nation when you talk about that hit.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You think Carl's seeing like he's calling him? He's like, "You come here, get back. We don't need this kind of attention on us right now." He tried to almost murder him.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
I mean, Rutger did the same thing in the gold medal against Sweden because that hit was.
Yeah, but that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, Capone hit.
Capone hits Niagara, man. Come on.
Yeah.
You guys are
Does he get
blowing
suspended
him
for
out?
That hit, Capone?
I haven't seen anything yet. He will. Like that was fish. I mean, Denver sweeps though.
We'll Denver sweeps.
Good sweep for them.
The second half, they're going to be so good. The second half of the season,
they're on top.
Same with North Dakota, NCHC.
Yeah, I was saying NCHC news. We're not going to talk about the exhibition for UMD.
No,
throwing that out of the window.
Yep.
Yeah, sick.
Other than Will Francis back on the ice, shouts.
Yep.
Man, but good friend of mine.
Isn't you said he might?
He's going to redshirt for the season.
Yeah, which he should. Like as a UMD guy, I want him back as much as we can. But I also want him on the ice with the boys.
Yeah, but just good to see him back. Yeah, good to see him back, huge. And what a warrior, man.
Willpower, baby. I was wearing my shirt all weekend. I was fired up here.
No, it's good to see him back on the ice. But in other college hockey news, what else do we have this week?
I want to touch on, so NCHC quick, North Dakota, huge sweep for them. You know, you see it's at home against Alaska. Ludwig wasn't there.
No.
I think he was sick. Yep. So they put in Hobie, what's his last name? Hedquist. Hadn't played a game all season.
Shout out to him for his first win.
2 wins, yes, sweet,
2 wins,
baby.
yeah.
Like, you see those photos of Bradbury just juiced in the locker room afterwards. Like that was sweet to see. I mean, it's good when Nodak. I mean, huge response after getting swept by CC. We hadn't seen him since. They get that sweep. I think Hobie only had like an 870 save percentage. So they had to put up some points, and boy, did they. Our guy Reese Gaber also back 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists. He was lighting it up. Like a couple of just absolute like. You would have thought Butchie's out there, like a twisted wrister, like just a howitzer out there. Like he was looking good. Jackson Blake was buzzing. Everybody. So Nodak's all the way back.
Another team, NCHC, Western Michigan.
Back. Yeah.
They've had a season so far.
I mean,
how about
Lindenwood?
Dylan Went, though. Dylan Went. 16 tucks so far this season in 18 games.
Where did he come from? Where do they find these people?
I don't know, man. Like, Frischweiler over there is just doing some magic. Granger obviously having a good year. Colangelo, what a transfer, and he's got 13 goals himself this year, so 21 points.
Bump was on Hattie watch. I remember this weekend.
They played Lindenwood, they took care of business, which they should have.
On the road, though,
But now, like I mentioned this, and you guys weren't happy with this tweet, but they do go to Miami, and then they host Duluth. A good chance to win at least 2 games out of that. Maybe 3,
you claimed
maybe
4.
I did claim 4. It's possible. Duluth they're hurt right now. They're hurting.
We have Ben Steves. Will Francis is in the locker room again.
Yeah,
you want to go against Sandy?
No, I never. That's never a good idea. But what I'm saying is they have a chance to go 4-0 here in these next 4 games. There's a chance. And if they do that, they're in the tournament, I think, already.
Yeah.
After that, then there's a month.
I think if they win 3,
yeah,
that's a really good shot. I mean, right now they're 13-4-1. Like they've beaten everyone that they should, but now it's all NCHC play from here on out. Like
the end of if you look at the end of their schedule, Denver, Nodak, back to back, it's going to get tough at the end. But they need to win. They already got
swept at home by St. Cloud. Like they need to start
St. Cloud
up
again too. They end the season with Miami, but still, you never can take a game off in that league or any league for that matter in college hockey. But Western has stood out to me. So.
Yeah, I do want to touch on. So Wisconsin also just gross. I mean,
Hastings
9 straight.
Got it all under control, and
they scored 8 goals against Ryan Bishop this weekend.
Yeah, that's a good stat.
He didn't look great in some of the clips that I saw, but it's Bishop. Like
he's great.
They're a defensive team. They're putting it on them. Stramel had a huge power play goal on Friday.
Too. That might be the most impressive. A tough place to play. It was great.
Those photos, seeing the fans just pissed in the background. Hastings got them juiced. They haven't lost since I think November 24th against Anchorage of all teams. They got swept by Michigan State, so those fans are still in our DMs for some reason. Somebody called me a blank rider of Wisconsin, which just couldn't be further from the truth. Like I kind of despise them, but they're good. So yeah, I'm going to talk about them. I made the graphic, whatever. Get over it. In our rankings, really nothing's changing this week. Nobody lost.
No.
If you look at it, Maine tied with Colgate last night. They won the shootout. Electric atmosphere. We need to get to Alfond. They took it to them on Friday, but or 3-1. I don't care. It was sick. And then I still think they got to be top 10 though.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Maine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only team I'm thinking about bumping to top 10. Can we talk about it? ASU.
They've had an impressive start to the season. First half, I should say.
Do not lose. They won the Desert Hockey Classic for the first time ever. Clap it up.
Yep. They're good, man. They're the real deal.
Forks up, man. It looks so. Mullet Arena, is that not the epitome of pucks in deep?
I mean, Sillinger really leading the way, but Copperwood back in the system, just scoring goals.
I mean, Sillinger, what is he at right now for points? Let me get here. Let me see their. I think they're winning. Can we just give them the Independent Cup? They have 16 wins right now.
Yep.
Alaska just got swept. That's tough for them. But 16-3-5. Another team that hasn't lost since November. Took down Harvard. Harvard, just a tough season. Apparently we have to go to the game for them to win. I think that's fair to say because they have. I don't think they've won.
They could be the real deal, especially if Copperwood stays hot. You know, he missed a lot of time last year. He's already got more games played this year. He's got 12 goals this year. Lead on him, lead on Sillinger, TJ Nutt. They got it all. They got enough for at least what it takes to get to the tournament. And I really hope it'd be good for college hockey to see them in the NCAA tournament. There's no doubt.
I want it. Kyle Smolin, 3 goals this weekend, freshman. So like another guy that he's up to 7. Like they're just finding scoring from the woodwork. I mean, Sillinger, apparently he's Jesus Christ reborn. I mean, he's got 28 points right now. Are you kidding? 28.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice? Imagine if he stayed, James.
What if Josh Doan stayed? Our boy Donor.
God. Yeah,
I mean, can you imagine if those boots were in the locker room?
Dude, they would need to resurface like often. It would be tough out there because they're ridiculous. Like I don't even want to look at their schedule. I know they have Stonehill again. I know they have both Alaskas at least once, if not twice.
They can't lose those games though because they don't have a conference tournament.
That's what I was looking at. So
that's what's scary. Yeah,
and like it's so early for pairwise, but you would think you hear that they're 16-3-5. Where do you think they are in pairwise right now?
30 probably, just based off who they've played.
No, that's a little bit much. Come on, 30th right now is Connecticut. Okay, 8-9-2.
20,
so, a little higher.
Really?
Yeah,
16.
I would have thought they'd be closer to top 10 because they've beaten Denver. They split with Denver and they split with Providence.
Yeah,
like their only losses in regulation are to those teams. That's absurd.
It's just the rest of their schedule is the strength of it is gonna. Right. Yeah, I don't know.
But I think the more that Denver goes on, keeps winning these games. Same with Providence. That's gonna help them climb more.
They need to win every game.
They do.
It's gonna be a battle, just like Fairbanks battled last year to get in. Voted in.
They need Omaha to start winning now too after that one. But yeah, good for ASU. Good for college hockey.
Yep,
love to see that.
I agree.
Okay.
Other than that, we talked later in the podcast too. Michigan State. They're ready to go. They currently lead the Big Ten in the standings, so we'll see if they can finish the second half strong here, but they should.
Michigan Tech, GLI. Haven't talked about that. Swankler, 2 points in 2 games, baby.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how he didn't get in the fight.
Again, we talked about later in the pod, Michigan, too, is going to have a good second half of the season, so don't sleep on them yet.
Yeah. But Stonehill sniff. I have a sneaky parlay later.
Stop it.
I want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it.
Okay.
I do want to say Army blew a 3-goal lead in the third period. Do we think that was on Russia? What do we...
Come on.
But all right, so that was tough. Good for Penn State, but
Army, they've been scoring.
They put on some points. They need our freaking guy.
Hey, they could win the Atlantic. Don't count Army out of winning the Atlantic into the tournament.
I'm not counting anybody out of the Atlantic. Holy Cross won last night.
Yep.
Shout out to the Crusaders, baby. Rise up. Anybody. Literally. RIT looked good this weekend.
Canisius could do it. There's teams.
Canisius big win yesterday.
Yeah, they could. I mean, who knows who's going to win that tournament? That is a toss-up.
We need another Atlantic guest. I know we just had Morosi. We just had Holy Cross.
Let's get T-Large back.
Give me T-Large, baby. I know he's open for it.
Just a great hockey mind, another one. But
one more note I had for this weekend. Northeastern might be sneaky good. They beat.
Don't give Plevs that. Don't give that to him.
Do you think he's listening?
No.
Exactly. So Northeastern, they tied Quinnipiac. It was at home last night. But they played them tough both nights, and then they beat BC. I'm thinking just Beanpot. Morosi didn't even mention Northeastern, which
I wouldn't have either.
Exactly.
Not a great year,
but they won it last year.
They've been winning it.
Exactly.
Recent,
that's like the only thing you can't count them out.
Good,
so
big event.
I'm just thinking sneaky bets.
Win at Fenway. They got
Take a flyer, Northeastern Beanpot. Thank me later.
Yeah, throwing it out there. I'm not counting them out.
Exactly.
But when you look at what BC and BU have, especially
they play Harvard first round. They're going to be in it.
Yeah, they're going to have a chance. They're going to have
got
a good
an absolute chance.
And you best believe they're going to be hitting that championship game.
If Gunnar Wolf-Fontaine gets hot, brother, just get ready.
We got to make it to that beam pot.
I know. I'm juiced. I'm so juiced thinking about it. So that's all. Those are my main takeaways this weekend. Did we miss anything? I think that's pretty good.
That's the biggest thing right now.
Again, the top 10, I don't think it's changing unless we want to bump Minnesota down. They haven't
It's
played.
just hard. Not everyone has other players. But you know what I just thought of? Finley, Wisconsin wasn't even there for this weekend versus Notre Dame.
Dude, Strammel's getting sneaky hot, and it's starting to make me mad.
Bill Guerin's like, yeah, screw you, James, for ripping me for that draft pick.
I'm still upset. Gabe, you don't think
Gabe Perreault, another great tournament. Wild should draft him. It is what it is. We're done. I'm not going to mention any more.
Sorry, we only missed him by like 11 picks.
It is 3, but something like that. But
feels like 45.
Yeah, I know.
It's tough. Okay, so that's this weekend. But coming up here, gentlemen, let's talk about it. Well, actually, first let's get a little ad read from our sponsor, and we'll get to it. All right, guys, quick break in the action. I want to talk to you about our proud sponsor over at Streaker Sports. It's the best merch in the game. You think I'm not wearing it right now? I think it can. I don't even know if Yale won this weekend. Feels like a winner. You know I'm repping, baby. You see that, Miles. Yeah, go to streakersports.com. Use promo code.
You know what I'm opening up right now?
ECH15. You're going to get in the middle of my ad read?
Yeah, I am. Because Penn State with the comeback. We got Snoopy, Penn State. Yeah, I mean.
God, why didn't you wear the Army?
Jimmy Dowd in the game? I don't know. Maybe that was the...
I was wearing my Army this weekend, too. It was between that and my willpower.
A simple text would have done it.
I know. I think I jinxed him because I literally took it off for Will. Maybe that's what did it. It wasn't Russia.
You know how hard it is for Army to get in the tournament? Everything's against him. And all it took is one text from you.
I know. That's on
Coach Riley, that's on Catelli.
Let's wrap this up.
When we come.
But all this cool merch, you guys, if it's not ECH related, it's at streakersports.com. Use promo code ECH15. You're going to get 15% off your first purchase. That's at streakersports.com.
Man, the vintage look they have on for the schools that they have right now, it's unbelievable.
They have
Army. Such a good job.
They have Army merch, people.
They do.
I don't have to say anything else. Go to streakersports.com. Thank me later. And now back to the podcast. All right, that is everything that happened last weekend. Let's talk about upcoming here, people. So the top 10's really not moving around too much because Wisconsin won, Michigan State. They tied. Like they won and then tied in GLI. Like I'm not moving anywhere because they swept Wisconsin. So
missing some key players. So
exactly. Trey Augustine didn't play. Yeah. Just chill out, Wisconsin fans. You're still gonna be top 4. Be happy about it. So coming up this week though, Providence at BC. That's a home and home, baby. That is a huge matchup. That's top 10.
Yep.
Right out of the gates. What are we picking here, James? Everybody's playing, right? Oh, you're picking a sweep?
Yeah.
Get that. Shut the front door.
Yeah.
You think Fowler's not itching to get back in the net? I mean, what do you play? 1, 2 games?
Give me Providence.
Give you Providence. I'll give you Providence.
Providence.
I'm taking BC, but
you're taking sweep?
Yeah. I mean, it's not fun unless you do. So yeah, I'm gonna go sweep. Although I could for sure see a split happening here. Like Providence is a tough place to play, and then BC has given up. Like who do they lose to at home? Denver.
Yeah,
I'm thinking they almost lost to LIU.
Top 10 matchup, man. Anything can happen.
Yeah, that's true. I'm taking Providence at home, and I'm taking BC at home. Kind of a loser picks, but I'm doing it.
Okay.
So actually, no, because I said sweep, so I guess I'll stay with it. God, that sucks.
Give me BC.
Give me BC. Okay.
Both games. Sweep.
Yep. Maine at UConn. They're both at UConn. I checked. Unless CHN's wrong on this, blame them. Maine at UConn. I'm gonna say UConn gets one.
Yeah, I mean they've won
Matthew
games
Wood
late. Yeah,
kind of carried Canada out there. Not carried, but he looked good. What do you have? 3-4 tucks. I think they get back on it. Hutchinson Chandor had a huge goal this weekend.
It's very doable. Man, that's
Huskies.
I don't know if I can take
ice bus.
I really want to say Maine sweep just to propel them for the rest of the season.
I do too, but
I'm going it. No,
they just tied Colgate.
I don't care.
Okay.
I'm going Maine sweep.
Really? All right. There we go. St. Cloud State at Denver.
Ooh.
Connor Capone probably not playing. Let's throw that out there.
Fair bet, Connor. But you're really going on a limb there.
Zeev is back. Carl's back. I mean, they don't lose at home, but St. Cloud State currently well ahead of them in the NCHC.
Yeah, so I'm going Denver sweep.
Denver sweep.
Yeah.
I'm going to say St. Cloud sneaks one.
Okay.
Sneaks one.
What if St. Cloud went in and swept? Would that be the statement series of the year?
Yeah. And I would be like the biggest a-hole because I said I gave him the DOS boot.
You gave him the DOS boot. If they sweep this weekend, you better just
did I give him the DOS boot in October?
I don't know, man.
So early.
Not a fair chance at all. Yeah. Knowing Larson and what he can do. So for that team.
It's tough to be me sometimes.
One of the best coaches in college hockey. Yeah. We'll see. It's going to be, that's to me, the matchup of the weekend.
I'm going to try to make it up to him, though. I'm taking you for one at least, Brett Larson.
Omaha's headed to the Ralph. Who do we got there?
Ooh, yeah. I'm going to say Nodak sweep because Reese Gaber is all the way back.
Yeah. Gaber's hot, and he's making his little bid right now for an NHL contract. Gaber,
I'll say if Ludwig
this weekend with Jackson Blake and the boys.
If Ludwig plays,
yes, that's true. No, I think he'll be healthy, ready to go. So
okay,
I'm taking sweep with you.
UNH at BU, that's just one game, but this is pretty electric. Like, it's going to be sold out, you would think. UNH coming off 2 wins this weekend.
Yeah, BU does play Northeastern on Tuesday night, too, this week. So, yeah.
Northeastern was sneaky good. Remember that.
But it's, remember
that.
At Aganis, I'm taking BU in that early week matchup. What do you got there between them and Northeastern?
Yeah, BU, Celebrini back. He's pissed. He's hearing all this shit from USA guys.
Yep.
Yeah, Lane Hudson's just going to be like smacking him in the face with his gold medal.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
They sit pretty close to each other in the room, too. I think Celebrini could be moving to the other side of the room.
He might have 14 tucks.
I'm just kidding.
We don't know.
But BU, there's my pick to win that game.
I got Cornell at ASU. Big matchup.
Wow, is that a tilt? That's going to be a must-win for ASU if they're going to get in this tournament. Pairwise. They have to beat Cornell for pairwise.
And Cornell,
give me Cornell.
Cornell needs it, man. Like,
give me Cornell. They need it just as much as ASU need it. That's up there for the matchup of the week too.
I'm gonna take Forks Up Nation. I'm taking your boy Stillinger.
Okay, I'm taking Cornell. I'm taking Cornell. Videos out now and doing well, guys. Thanks for checking it out on YouTube at Everything College Hockey. Please subscribe. But that video's out there. We got more to come.
Okay, so 2 more picks.
Yep.
You see my parlay? Hold on. I'm gonna hold on that. Quinnipiac versus Princeton. It's actually home and home. You never see. This is the rarest thing in ECAC play where they do back-to-back games.
Quinnipiac almost lost this week. They almost did.
Yeah. They did win the shootout, but
I don't care. Yeah, they almost lost.
Exactly. And I believe everybody played. I saw a graph out there on Friday.
Northeastern looked good. They're back.
North sneaky good. That's why.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? Princeton. Princeton's kind of sneaky.
Yeah.
They could sneak something.
Good atmosphere. They had a sell the other night.
I'm going to say they won't, though. Yeah. Quinnipiac, Colin Graff, the fellas.
No, I'm going to say they will.
Give me
Princeton.
Week. Really?
Give me Princeton.
For both?
No, one.
Okay, I was going to say,
I'm not crazy.
Are you trying to be a hero?
No.
All right. So, yeah, I got Quinnipiac sweep. James has Princeton taking one.
Yeah.
Okay. And now here's the juiciest parlay, people. I doubt DraftKings even knows who half these teams are. You ready for some fun Big Ten action?
Yeah, give me it.
RMU at Minnesota. Stonehill at Michigan. Lindenwood at Wisconsin. This has to be the most drastic pairwise difference.
It is a get-right week for the Big Ten.
It is, but I'm kind of thinking about what if you parlayed? How much money do you think you could make if Stonehill wins?
Enough to make this studio in our apartment right now, make it look like the studio for MLB and NHL Network.
Stonehill by itself plus 3,000.
Yeah.
And then you throw in Lindenwood at Wisconsin. You throw in RMU at Minnesota.
Stop it.
Oh, God. I'm guessing I could be a millionaire.
If you just do puck lines for that game.
I want it so bad. Yeah. Like I'm DraftKings, I'm pleading with. Give me a line and I'm gonna mash it. Like I'm gonna lose money, most likely. But if I don't,
likely I'd say it's a guaranteed thing.
Like it's gonna be my kids' first words are gonna be like parlay. Stonehill, like I don't know, something, because that would literally change my life if that hit.
It's not gonna happen.
So put it on there, DraftKings, please do. I'm gonna hopefully Stonehill's probably not gonna win. Lindenwood's probably not gonna win. Army, just give me one win in this. That'd be sick.
It's the spot to go. DraftKings, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code THPN. New customers bet just $5 on any NHL game. Get $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN.
Thank you very much, James. Yep. You heard it, people. Mash that parlay with me. Have some fun. Live a little.
Yeah.
Why not? College hockey's all the way back. Tons of matchups coming up here. Like, we're literally just juiced up to maybe even move the top 10. I'm going to have to make new graphics, and it's not moving at all. So, sorry, people. True. Don't get mad at me. It just is what it is.
Really quick before we get into this pod, we have JP, Jon Morosi, on, of course. He makes his Hobie picks at the end.
Stick around here.
I know we've been asking this. We've been discussing the past couple of weeks. Do we have any new Hobie favorites for you or myself, or have yours changed?
New Hobie
I don't know.
Action?
I just want to say Lane Hudson, after throwing bombs in the gold medal game, his stock is rising.
Bring back fighting.
And JP talks about, everyone's stock rising a little bit with the Beanpot games. If you're in that game or in that big stage game, like the gold medal game as well, it helps. Yep. It helps get you. And for a win or two, you got to get to the NCAA tournament. In my opinion, you have to get there. Your team has to get there. So we'll see. But Lane throwing down and winning the gold. He was my preseason pick,
so it made me feel really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's coming back. He's been unbelievable, but
it's so fun to watch on the ice.
He's kind of let Celebrini be the main guy. Maybe he takes over more in the second half, just scoring wise.
We'll see. They're winning right now, and I don't think they need to change anything. But that being said, I think every guy in the national team roster has a good chance to win it.
Right.
And will do well in the NHL.
BC, I mean, there's 4 options. Yeah. And I think Cutter, his performance and just leading that team, like how juicy he's going to be coming off of that, he's got the best, being propelled ahead the most, I would say, is Cutter. Yeah. But Gabe Perreault, I mean, he led the team in points, at least versus Sweden. So he's currently leading them at BC as well. He's going to be a monster. So, yeah, I think BC and BU are the ones propelled the most for the Hobie race.
You got to think.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So, yep. So that's our analysis here, people. Oh, who else did I have? Kyle McClellan, Wisconsin, Richter. I just pencil him in.
That's a good one. Yeah, he's been a great story that has not got enough coverage. We got to give him some more love on our page for sure. But
the amount of highlight saves.
And Mike Hastings, coach of the year right now.
Yeah.
Is there an update? No, we just did an update last pod, I think, on Sponge of the Year so far.
Sponge of the Year, I would assume it's still in Northern Michigan.
But I think we did just get one more thing locked in. You can take a good guess at this. Glue Gun of the Year, Shea Donovan, another goal this weekend.
No.
Yeah, he buried one.
Cato?
Yeah.
How did I miss this?
Yeah, no, he got a second now, and on top of being the best locker room guy in college hockey,
he might
now he's getting hot.
Most
at
improved
the right time.
player of the year.
Yeah,
I mean give him more minutes
of the century.
Jesus,
Shea Donovan,
give him PP one time.
I would. They're going getting a shout out to him too, winning a gold medal for USA on the coaching staff there. Now he comes back to Augustana. They're about to open the new barn. We might be there as well. A lot of good things to look forward to in college hockey.
Boyne on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Coming home with gold medal, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's it. Let's do it.
All right. We're all the way back, people. Thank you for listening. Check out our pages at Everything College Hockey everywhere except for Twitter. It's going to be Team ECH, ECHlocker.com.
Bunch of new videos on the YouTube. Go check it out, guys. The views are going up. We appreciate it. Go subscribe to our YouTube. Please, please, please. That helps us out.
But mainly, stick around for this interview right now. The man, the myth, Jon Morosi. Now we welcome on a very, 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 I'm going to go 4 very special guests.
Yeah.
We got big time analysts, is that fair to say, for every sport basically, but for NHL Network, MLB Insider.
Yep.
I mean, that's big too. We're big MLB guys, so I'm sure you could talk circles around us there. But Jon Morosi, Jon, welcome to the show.
Connor and James, thanks for the invitation. Happy New Year. I'm a big fan of the pod, so to be on the show is a huge honor. I did think, as I've listened to the shows during the course of the year, it's going to be a challenge for me to hit the level of Team USA captain Rutger McGroarty in terms of the content and the excitement that he brought to the pod. I'm not sure I can match Rutger. Very few can.
Yeah,
right. I'll do my best.
He showed that at the World Juniors. When he's getting the gold, he just good energy, good personality, and hell of a player at Michigan for sure. But
he's a walking interview in a Mack truck, too, like at the same time.
What a hit.
Just a big dude. I think we just get right into World Juniors.
Let's get right into the gold medal.
USA is do or die. We'll get to your interviews as well. I want to talk on that too, but just talk. I mean, you were watching the games. You know a lot of the players now after getting to talk to them. You know, how cool was it just for you getting to watch that unfold for Team USA after talking with all of them?
Pretty remarkable story all the way around, and to me, it is exactly that, Connor. The togetherness that we saw with Team USA to go through that tournament, and the big picture here. These are 18 and 19-year-old young men, and to be at their peak for 2 weeks and not lose a game. They didn't even lose a game in the preliminary.
No.
Even before the pre-tournament games, they were dominant in those games. This is one of the best Team USAs at this level that we have ever seen. And what made the story even better was how they won it, against whom they won it.
Yep.
Sweden was the nemesis for this group. Of course, Sweden had beaten the U.S. in the U18 gold medal game 2 years ago. And I know from talking with players on this roster, whether it was Cutter Gauthier or Rutger McGroarty, Lane Hudson, all the way down, this was the matchup they wanted. They might not have said it explicitly before the tournament started, but they wanted to play Sweden. And that was in that environment. You do it on their home ice. I think that was why the end of the game was so emotional as it was, because the Swedes were understandably frustrated and the Americans were understandably really excited about what they had done. And so it set the stage for an amazing story. This is where we talk about USA Hockey and the National Team Development Program and the way that the development model is constructed in our country. And it is because of the chemistry that you saw on the ice this past week. You can't get that level of buy-in and care over a 2-week camp unless it has been building for years. And in the case of, we talked about Rutger off the top of the conversation, he and Cutter Gauthier were friends and teammates since they were 10 years old, playing on the same youth hockey team in Michigan. 10.
That's
It's a
crazy.
decade of playing together. And
it's a lot of chemistry.
You cannot manufacture that. You either have that chemistry or you don't. And you could just tell that when it got right down to it, Isaac Howard and Frank Nazar and Gavin Brindley and this group of 04 birth year players, they were just not going to be denied. And it made for, I think, one of the more satisfying wins USA Hockey has had internationally in a very long time.
Yeah, just watching it unfold. I mean, like, we hadn't won since the Cole Caulfield year, you know, in COVID and everything. And that was sweet. I mean, like, I was going nuts in my apartment watching all that, but it wasn't as nice as that. You see Sweden's fans like getting so, I mean,
the environment was great.
Yeah.
The championship game, the gold game.
Rutgers egging him on, just like, you know, doing a dance, getting his gold medal, like everything, like the fight from Lane Hudson, throwing down, you know, like answering the bell too. Like, they did everything. Like, they won that game from start to finish. It was just the sweetest victory you could imagine. And it just makes me think, like, you know, where would this team be without Rutger? Because there was a worry before the tournament that he might not even play. You know, like, he's coming off that injury. He hadn't played college hockey in, you know, however long. So I think that was a huge, and then
that was a spark that hit.
He gets the captaincy. You're like, oh, he's back fully, I would hope. And I was a little worried. And then you see him, like, he was a little slow to start the preliminaries. And then obviously heats up at the end of the tournament. So, like, you know, talk about, do you think he was the lifeblood of this team? You said him and Cutter Gauthier, obviously Lane Hudson as well. But, you know, just talk about specifically Rutger. We'll give him his, friend of the pod.
Yeah.
We had him on earlier this season. He's having a great college year. I'm excited to see him back in there. But talk about how important he was to this team and, you know, kind of juicing up the boys.
Well, head coach David Carl said it after the gold medal game that he really brings people together, brings out the best in people. One of my favorite lines about Rutger from Isaac Howard, now of Michigan State, so they're back to being rivals, by the way, which would be a lot of fun to watch that unfold. But Isaac Howard said of Rutger, he speaks in all capital letters.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
You want your captain to speak in all capital letters. And so I think that to have Rutger back, and even I was there the first day of camp in Plymouth, Michigan, when he was in a no contact jersey, but he was back on the ice. And when I asked a lot of the players, especially the 04 birth year players, whether it was Isaac Howard, Lane Hudson, Jimmy Suggerud, what it meant to them to just see him back on the ice, and they all lit up. And you understand now, it's not just, certainly hockey there's the analytical component to it, and goaltending is so important. There's all these different elements that go into a successful hockey, but there is such a heartbeat in this sport. And Rutger was the emotional barometer and heartbeat of this team. You saw it, everything he did, every interview he gave. I thought it was really interesting too. Chris Peters, when he was sharing, and Chris was there on site in Sweden for the whole tournament, you pointed this out. After the first game, Rutger said to Chris, I've got to be better. I need to be better than I was in game one. And it really is unique to have a 19-year-old player have that level of self-awareness and perspective, and also confidence in himself to say that. You don't often hear young players acknowledge publicly in front of cameras and microphones in the biggest tournament that they play in, hey, I wasn't good enough today. That's a really high level of self-awareness and honesty. And sure. I think that set a very authentic tone for this team. This is a really unique blend of personalities on this particular birth year, in the 04s and the 05s as well. And that word, authenticity, is really important. Cutter Gauthier, the emotion that you saw Cutter have with the trophy after the game, that's him. That's who he is. And I, as a storyteller and a journalist, I always love and appreciate people who are who they are. Right. And they're going to be themselves when they're speaking with you on the ice. And I really love that. And I think fans love that too. There's a reason why, as the medal round was unfolding, the Finland game and the Sweden game, social media in our country was lighting up for this team.
Yep.
And I just think it said a lot about how much this tournament has advanced. But that doesn't happen unless the fans feel like they know the players.
Yep,
and I think that there was that real connection for hockey fans in our country. And I would suspect if you even talked to American NHL players today, they would say we were tuning in and we were high-fiving in the dressing room as we were getting ready for our game, watching that game unfold. And I really think it's because of the authenticity of people like Rutger and Cutter and the entire group.
Yeah, 100%. I know it's Canada, but I saw, Bedard after morning skate watching the World Juniors with his teammates. Canada could have had a lot of guys that are in the NHL on that team, could have changed things, but U.S. had, Cooley could have been on the team too. So, but yeah, everyone was bought in. I know it did well on our Instagram page, all social media, like everyone was tuning in. So I think it's the biggest it's ever been. I think in part due to your interviews as well. What was your favorite interview? We tuned in to do a bunch of them. I'm sure a lot of other fans did too, but what was the favorite interview you did on the team? Would you say, John?
Well, that's a great question. Well, I appreciate the kind words, because it's one of my favorite days of the year. Honestly, we get a chance during the camp and to kind of pull back the curtain a bit. Those interviews, especially this year, they were all done on the same day during camp.
That's a lot.
That's a big day.
It's great. It's a heck of a day. I always say it's one of my favorite days of the year. Basically, it ends up being about a 3.5 to 4 hour block of time. And we don't get enough time with the entire roster, but probably 70% of the team we sit down with. And it is one after another for basically 4 hours. And I just try to keep some water handy to make sure my voice holds up for 4 straight hours. But it's fun. And honestly, guys, and you know this, and doing the great work that you do on the pod, there are stories and narratives that we pick up from just being at the rink over a long period of time, where you hope you know the right question to ask at the right time. And so I take a lot of notes, and where certainly living close to the USA Hockey Arena here in Michigan, I'm very fortunate to have that access to where I can go over to a game and talk to people, and you just pick up storylines to ask about. And then that day is the culmination of a lot of that work, and doing the All-American game, which we have on NHL Network, which is coming up again in a week. You prepare for those players for that game, and then you keep a lot of that stuff in the back of your mind. Then when they're on the World Junior team a couple years later, you bring the storylines back. And that was the case. We had a chance to talk to Will Smith a lot last year, and there was Will making a huge impact on this team. So to answer your question, I do think the David Carl story, that was really special to us. I think his narrative, and hockey fans know it, but I think it was important to introduce it to a lot of other fans that were maybe more casually following the tournament. His hockey career ended when he was 18, when he had the diagnosis of a very serious heart condition as a part of his combine at the NHL draft. So you can imagine he's coming out of Shattuck. He's going to probably be a top first or second round pick, and it's the most exciting time of your career. And then all of a sudden you get the diagnosis that you can't play hockey ever again, and you're 18 years old.
It's tough.
And there are two ways you can go with that. Either you don't want to ever be around hockey again because it's too hard, or it's time to find a different way to be part of the sport that you love. And fortunately for hockey in our country, David Carl chose the latter, because he's now a gold medal winning coach and a national championship winning coach at the age of 34, which is remarkable.
Absolutely.
And what he's been able to do is it's extraordinary in a very short amount of time. So I just think that he's learned the game so well. He's had some great mentors. And as we put this story together, we were looking at his story and said, wow, two of his biggest mentors in his career are Jim Montgomery and Derek Lalonde. And we were very grateful that the Bruins and the Red Wings helped us get a lot of sound from both of those NHL coaches about how impressed they were with David Carl when he stepped onto the ice as an assistant coach at Denver, a student assistant, where Denver honored his scholarship and let him coach from the time he was 18 years old. And you wonder why he's so great. Well, that's why. He loved the game so much that even when it was taken away from him as a player, he found this entirely new avenue to engage and help pass the game along to the next generation. So I have such great respect for David. I think we're going to see him coaching whichever teams he wants to coach in the future, whether it's the NHL or the national team again. Like he's a great coach. So that story was one of my favorites. And then I really enjoyed, and credit to our producer, Sean Hyland, we sat down with both Lane Hudson and Seamus Casey and got them each to talk about the other and how they see the game. A right shot D, a left shot D, the creativity they have. And it was just so much fun to listen to them talk through what they saw in each other's game. And that was really fun to just get two really bright hockey minds talking about what inspires them in the other, because that was one of those fly on the wall sort of interviews where I just handed them the iPad. I said, what do you see here? And then just let them go. And their analysis was so much fun to listen to.
Yeah, very good players. I was just at Boston a couple of weeks ago doing something with Backlund Celebrini. That video is coming out soon, but we also mic'd up Lane Hudson for a little bit that day. And you can just see his compete on an everyday basis and in practice. So great kid. James Casey, obviously an outstanding player as well. Both of those guys, bright NHL futures ahead of them, hopefully. So, I mean, both great out for USA as well.
Yeah, I just hope, seeing all this, I want Carl to be a college coach as long as possible. I don't know if it's going to be beyond this year. Their team could win it all again this year. They're that good.
He could win a gold in a national championship this year. I thought about this yesterday. There's a couple teams, BC and BU, that could win a gold. The players could win a gold medal, a bean pot, and a national championship possibly in 1 year. It's possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a year.
That would be a year.
But and by the way, like we talk about, and I love this about this team as well. You point this out. The rivalries are real. Like the BC BU rivalry is real, and the Michigan State rivalry is real. And credit to the players. They put that aside for a couple weeks, and they're best friends for 2 weeks. And then I cannot wait when Michigan plays Michigan State as we speak here. It's less than 2 weeks away. That Friday night at Munn, with Michigan State now back to being a national power in hockey. And here comes Michigan.
We should go to that.
4 gold medal winning players on Michigan's roster against Ike Howard and Trey Augustine. That's going to be a must-see event. And then the Beanpot, BU against BC in the first round. One of my other favorite events in the sports year. That's going to be incredible. And you're going to have Lane playing against Cutter and all, like the 7 BC guys on that team. My gosh, that's just going to be so much fun. And that was the other part. And I cannot wait to see your piece on Celebrini, because one of the fun goals that we had Seamus talk through was basically sort of a give and go game within the game with Celebrini and Hudson. Like the creativity between those two guys. It's just there's so much good stuff happening right now in college hockey that I think all of us who really love the sport are so proud to see it getting the recognition that it deserves. Because if you can't enjoy these games, I don't know what I can do. This is the sport at its highest level for me.
Yep, 100%. I liked your point about, just the rivalries inside that locker room, though, and just speaks to what USA did. It's even cooler. It makes it cooler.
Golfer players, too.
Yeah, we had that post saying Jimmy Snuggerud sitting next to, who was it, Brindley? Someone on Michigan. I was like, that just looks wrong. You can see both bags there, but no, they all came together, and it was great. But you bring up Iceman there, Isaac Howard. What a game he had in the gold medal. Just the whole tournament. He tore it up. Was he the best player? Who would be your tournament MVP, John? What do you have to say for USA? I know there's a bunch of
There's so many good candidates. I think that there was one. The best forward of the tournament by the IIHF was Cutter Gauthier, which is a great choice.
Yep.
I think Isaac Howard would have been just as great of a choice.
Yeah.
And by the end, the BC line was as good as any line in the
100%.
So there are so many great choices there. But I think two things stand out. I'll talk about Cutter for a second, and then with Ike. I think Cutter, we saw him score at the Men's World Championships. Scored 7 goals in that tournament.
Yeah.
As a pure goal scorer, as the youngest forward on Team USA. And we did some research on this. And after he scored those 7 goals, I said, okay, well, how many times in the last decade has any American player scored 7 or more goals at the Men's World Championships? And it come to find out, Cutter was the third. The other 2 guys are named Kane and DeBrincat. and Cutter did that as still a junior eligible player, which just tells you a ton about his skill. And then in this tournament, what I loved about Cutter's game was he didn't force the need to score. Like he was setting up Rutger or Snuggerud, depending on the circumstances. He took what the game gave him. And then when the U.S. needed a goal, the biggest goal of the tournament, honestly, for them was the tie-breaking goal against Finland in the semifinal, and Cutter scored it. So I love that in this situation, it was almost, and I'm going to use a Terrier comparison here, it was almost Jack Eichel-like, in that if Cutter had to set his teammates up, he could do that. If he needed to score, he could do that. He took what the game gave him. And that was, to me, a level of maturity that you don't often see. He didn't feel the need to force anything.
Right.
And that impressed me the most in Cutter's game.
Yeah, so obviously huge for, we've been talking through Rucker, McGroarty. The BC line was incredible, the younger one as well. But let's get into Michigan State.
Trey Augustine, Isaac Howard.
The boys, Isaac Howard, tournament MVP, wasn't he?
Well, no, he was one of the contestants, but
okay, he's up there. He's up there. The Iceman, 2 goals. The celebrations, everything. Talk about Michigan State's, influence in this tournament and how clutch both those players were.
Isaac Howard, for me, easily could have been on the all-tournament team, easily could have been the tournament MVP. When you score 2 goals in the gold medal game, plus then earlier on, you get the shootout winner in the preliminary stage and had a great game that day as well. I love seeing Ike Howard back to being the player that he was at the National Team Development Program, scoring goals. I think he's, in a lot of ways, even better all around than he was at that stage of his career, because I think you see his play away from the puck getting that much better. He's defending better. He's winning one-on-one battles. The effort has always been there. I think the physicality is even more physical than he was before. That line, in so many ways, with Nazar and Brindley, which you love that. You got a Spartan and 2 Wolverines on one line. They created chances all tournament. Brindley was buzzing the whole tournament. He was fantastic. Great. And so I just think that with Michigan State and Michigan, that rivalry, if I could have a ticket to any game in college hockey this entire season, it's going to be the series opener at Munn, with Michigan State back to being a national powerhouse. Michigan comes in with all the recent success that they've had, and this rivalry is now officially back. It is back. You've got four players on Michigan who won gold, 2 on Michigan State who won gold. You've got Trey Augustine, who can shut down any team in the country now. You've got Ike, who's scoring big goals. They were best friends for 2 weeks. They're probably not best friends right now. And it's going to be for the greater good of college hockey, because that building at Munn, I'm sure you've talked with people about it already. That facility is back to being one of the best in the country. The back of the house, I was able to do a tour there last year. What an amazing place that is in terms of the recovery, training, locker room, everything. It's a brilliant setup for college hockey.
Yep.
And so the students are now engaged again. They're selling out the building again. College hockey is better. I think 3 teams to me stand out where when I really started following college hockey growing up, like later 90s, early 2000s, Maine, Michigan State, Wisconsin.
Yep.
They're all back.
They're all back.
College hockey top 10 is better when you see those 3 teams back in the mix in Maine and that incredible atmosphere in Orono, and Wisconsin's back as one of the best teams in the country. I just love what those 3 programs have done, but especially in my home state of Michigan to see MSU back, the great tradition that they've got there, the building there. They've got Levshunov, who's brought in a lot. There's been a lot of scouts, of course, coming in to watch a top 5 pick in Levshunov in his draft year, which I think is, as you know how the scouting world works, the more looks that all those players are getting now. You saw Geary get invited to the U.S. camp, didn't make the team, but just that he was now on the radar for USA Hockey. There's just more and more attention on this team, and it's for the better. They've got an outstanding coach in Jared DeMichael, who's done a great job working with Trey Augustine. One of the main reasons why I believe that Trey chose to come to Michigan State, because you've got a great goaltending coach who's your top assistant there, and Jared DeMichael, and Adam Nightingale is a top-level coach too. It's great. You've got Nightingale went to Michigan State. Brandon Naranjo went to Michigan. You've got 2 great coaches leading their respective alma maters. This is the best the rivalry has been in a long time, and I just cannot wait to watch these games unfold. They haven't even played yet this year. They've got 4 games coming up before the tournament even starts, and maybe we'll even see them meet in the Big Ten tournament. It's just the rivalry is in a great place right now.
Yes, I agree. It's so much better when both teams are very competitive. And for all those teams you just mentioned, Maine, UNH has had a good season. That was a great rivalry earlier this season. I wish we could have gone to that game. But even Wisconsin being good, now that makes that rivalry with Minnesota a lot better too, because the last couple of years it hasn't been great since Caulfield's left. But
just the Big Ten is the Big Ten's is best in college hockey that it's ever been. Yeah. I think right now it's loaded top to bottom, and you see, there's 4 teams that could win the Frozen Four.
Yep.
Like looking at it right now, like Michigan's had not a great start to the season. They're
winning,
barely above 500.
So talent,
and
you have a good second.
But after seeing this, you've seen Rutgers fully healthy. Like they could get back in, and they could be above Michigan State at the end of the season. Like that's how loaded they are. Like it's crazy just to see that and how much talent there is.
That's a great point on Michigan too in their second half. I think one of the most important things that we're speaking here on Sunday. I was at the game last night. They played the under-18 national team in Plymouth. It was great. Building was sold out there in Plymouth as well, which was awesome to see. Everybody's sort of cheering for both teams because you're in Michigan and you're playing against the national team, which is pretty unique. But I think one of the more important moments there was Ethan Edwards coming back and playing on the blue line. Now, Michigan, you look at their blue line this season. Of course, no longer do they have Luke Hughes, and Edwards, who missed the entire first half with injury, was really looked upon to be a guy that they will trust to quarterback a power play. Of course, you've got Casey on the other power play unit. This is, I think, one of the more important stories for Michigan now in the second half. Barczewski's been, I think, very good in goal, better in some ways than his numbers even indicate. And now you've got these players who just won a gold medal coming back. Rutger hasn't played for Michigan since the middle of November because of the injury. So now you get him back. I think we're going to see an even better version of Frank Nazar, more of a 200-foot player now, someone that you can really rely on as a center. I just think for Michigan, it's taken a half a season for them. You've had the injuries on top of, think about how many puck touches and how often the puck was on the stick last year of Adam Fantilli and Luke Hughes.
Yep. A lot.
They could dictate
a good amount.
Basically an entire game.
Yep.
And so when you don't have those 2 players, I think it takes a while to relearn how to share the puck, what your identity is, what kind of flow and chemistry you get with your lines. And they were just so dominant. Adam Fantilli would start the game playing with his hair on fire for 60 minutes. That's just how he played.
Yep.
And that drove the entire team last year. Then you had Luke doing what Luke did, the amazing goal against Western, taking a bow. He just was everywhere.
We were at that one.
When you have players, that was a moment. So when you have players like that you all of a sudden lose, even if you're were expecting that you were going to have to lose them because of how good they were, it takes a while to adjust. And I think now they're back. As I mentioned, they've got all 4 of their games against Michigan State to come. They'll pick up as long as they keep winning some series here and maybe sweeping a Big Ten series here and there, they'll pick up their pairwise points. And I expect they're going to be the best version of themselves right at the right time of the year.
Yep.
Just looking at their schedule real quick. Sorry, they jump in. They've Stonehill to lead them off. So like talk about just getting your feet underneath you. We love Stonehill. We hope they get their first W here. But
like, they're gonna have a good second half. I think there'll be a few other. I mean, there'll be a lot of teams that you touch on the just puck touches and stuff like that. All the chemistry for all these teams is going to be a lot better the second half of the season. Now that we've all got to play together.
Yeah,
for a little
they're all
bit
riding high. Another player I just want to touch on real quick, Jimmy Snuggerud, a guy who hasn't had the biggest start. Like he's shown flashes of just being a beast that he is.
Yeah.
And then this tournament, those big goals. I mean, like one of the heaviest shots I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm looking forward to seeing him maybe push for that Hobie that we thought he would be in the front running for in the second half of the season. Where do you think he'll end up on that, John? Or let's give me your Hobie favorites. Being around this team, a lot of Hobie favorites on the roster.
Or just in college hockey, who do you got?
And beyond.
Yeah, that's a great point. I tend to think that the Hobie winner will be someone that was on this Team USA, just because the emotion of this tournament and what that gold medal means. I think it's going to inspire these players into the second half as they go back to their college teams. I think Gauthier is going to have a huge second half. But think about this too: if Gauthier helps them win a bean pot or if Lane Hudson is potentially involved in that too, Celebrini might be part of the conversation even as a freshman, like the way that Fantilli was last year.
Yeah.
The Denver guys, of course, Rizzo, Devine, like they have great candidacies as well. I think it's anybody's award to win at this point in time, but the Denver group, they're so good and they've put up just insane amounts of points. They'll be probably tough to catch, but when you look at the meaning of that in-season tournament, and the bean pot is special because it really captures the attention. It's certainly in the Northeast. And I certainly grew up in Michigan, but then went to college in Boston. So I got a chance to really feel the bean pot when you're there. You take the tee to the rink and everybody's wearing their jerseys, and it's just a really unique experience. That has such prominence to where if you're the bean pot MVP and you win the bean pot, which Cutter could do, which honestly any of the BC guys you see could potentially do that. And then the BU guys, if Celebrini scores 2 goals in the bean pot championship game, and or if Lane Hudson has another incredible goal like that in his bean pot tournament MVP, you never know. Like that's a nice platform to jump off to maybe have that next achievement of winning the Hobie. So I think that the Hobie race for me is wide open, but I see a lot of players, whether it's in Maize and Blue or BU, BC, who knows? Maybe Ike Howard has a huge second half, and then you've got the Denver guys. I still think it's wide open, and we're going to see some guys really seize the headlines here in the second half.
Yeah, you touch on Denver, and I think one guy that doesn't get enough recognition, Zeev Boyum. What a tournament, but what a season so far from defense. I mean, this kid's the real deal. There's no doubt about it. Now? He could be a Hobie.
Ridiculous.
Talk about him, and I know you got to know him a little bit, but who he is as a player.
What an amazing story. And I love it to sort of take the big picture here. He's playing with his brother Shai at Denver, which is a great story.
Yep.
He grew up in the San Diego area. So he's a first generation American. He picks up the game in San Diego, and now he is likely a top 10 pick for me and a Hobie candidate on top of all that.
Yep.
That is one of the great development stories within this time of the national team development program, and then going on to winning gold at the World Juniors. And that goal he scored the other day was immaculate. That shot from the point, he has one. He in some ways, there's such fun overlap between the styles of play of Casey and Hudson and Boyum. And Zeev is just so creative back there. I look at him, I see some Quinn Hughes in the way that Zeev plays.
For sure.
And hopefully for Denver's sake, he'll come back for one more year and play a second year of college, which I think he probably will do. And I think he's got a chance to, if he doesn't win the Hobie this year, to win it next year and to be one of the leaders on Team USA again. But I think he's in the Hobie conversation right now. I mean, Adam Fantilli won it as a freshman, draft eligible. Why not 2 years in a row to see Zeev do it? And when a defenseman wins this award, which is obviously just in terms of points, it can be a challenge because you're comparing against a forward. But I look at Zeev as someone that can control an entire series in the NCHC with the way that he plays, how many minutes he plays. And I just think he's in a great situation. David Carl understands him so well. He understands what his coach wants. He's playing with his brother. It's a great story of development. And I think that the best of his season is still yet to come, which is a frightening prospect for the other teams in the NCHC League.
Yeah. He's bigger, a little bigger too. I know.
Tall.
Hughes was, a little shorter than him, but Cale McCarr comes to mind. I know different hand stuff, but just that size, and as far as point production, he's going to be right there. The second half of the season, he could be scary, like John said. He's
got 25 points in 18 games right now.
That's scary. That's scary. Like as a freshman coming in and just doing. That's insane.
Like he's keeping up with those top four, with Rizzo, Devine. Carter King's having a big year. Like Denver is scary top to bottom, but like he's a big part of that at the point. Like that power play. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. He's managing it. I don't know.
Good luck out there. And if he comes back for another season, like all these players, man, I'm like, man, I just want him back. Like
it's good for college hockey.
Yeah,
like John said, it's the most. It's competitive. All season long. So
yeah. Do we want to
back?
Do we want to get into the draft? I'm thinking about how many players we're going to lose, and that's going to make me sad. Can we talk about players that are going to get drafted coming up here?
Yeah, we can come
instead.
Up. Yeah,
if that's something to jump to real quick. You mentioned I can't pronounce his name, so I'm going to try to. That defenseman at Michigan State, Levshinov. Am I saying that right?
Yep. Yeah. Artyom Levshinov.
Yeah, he's ridiculous, having a great season too. But how many other players are we going to see in the first round, do we think, that are committed to a college hockey program currently or playing?
That's a great question. I think we're going to see more than we maybe anticipate. I just watched the U18 program, and of course, Yzerman is likely a top 10 pick. Yep. William obviously is already in college. Yep. He's, for me, likely to be a top 10 pick. You've got Levshinov, as you point out, at Michigan State. And I think one name that is not getting enough attention, but I'm really excited to watch play during our All-American game in a week on NHL Network is Kamil Bednarik, who's a center on the U18 national team. He's going to BU next year. And,
of course,
he is someone that, exactly. As if they need any more talent, he's on his way. And he is a true, when you look at this level and you think the U18 team, they're playing against very good college competition often. And when you're able to still win a lot of draws against centers who are 21, 22 years old and bigger and stronger than you, it says a lot about your skill and what you can achieve going forward. So Bednarik, for me, is someone that I think is not getting the love he deserves. But when you look at the way that scouts really value centers, and certainly defensemen like Levshinov and Buyam, I think Bednarik is going to get even more attention as time goes on. Obviously, their top line for a lot of the year, you've had Hagens there with Stiga, who's going to go to BC, and Ziemer, who's going to go to Minnesota. Ziemer, I'm a huge fan of his. He wore the captain C for the first in-season tournament when Team USA went over to Europe, and the C has remained on his sweater since then, which is a big deal. Sometimes they don't name necessarily the captain until later on for the U18s, but they love Ziemer's leadership so much that he's still wearing the C. And in terms of his leadership style, there's a reason why you look at McGroarty was the captain of Team USA 2 years ago at the U18s. That's a big honor. And when the leadership group is identified that early on, it says a lot about the person's character. So I think Ziemer's got a chance to be a very high pick as well. Of course, Hagens is not yet eligible for the draft. He'll be at 2025 draft eligible. He's had a tremendous year. I do think that if, with the injury to McGroarty, if Rutger had not been able to go, I think Hagens would have made the team. I think that for Team USA, they were probably not going to have Hagens be on that team as like a bottom six forward or sort of a fourth line bonus player, which is what he would have been probably with the way that this roster was constructed. There was just so much forward talent that they just didn't have a prominent role for him. And if he was not going to be a prominent first line player, I think that the decision was go with the more experienced guys for now. Hagens and his time will come, and let him be with his U18 team now and just keep developing and keep getting ready for U18 Worlds. I think that's where the decision was. And so I think Hagens, even though he's not draft eligible this year, he will be someone that we talk about a lot at the All-American game. And I love this too, as we talk about the USHL and how much talent there is there. We're going to see some players who are born outside the U.S. playing in this game, which I think is a really important thing. So Sasha Boisvert, who's playing in Muskegon, one of the top recruits in college hockey heading to North Dakota next year, He's someone that I'm really excited to watch. He's from Quebec, but he wanted to go to the college route. And when you look at the success of players like Celebrini, who played in Chicago and is now having a tremendous run in college hockey and will be the number 1 overall pick, just like Fantilli was a top 3 pick this past year with 1 year of college hockey. It's just showing the value of the USHL route and college hockey for players who are not from the U.S. And I think that only elevates the overall caliber of play that we see in the USHL and college hockey too.
Yeah, no, that's a big reason for college hockey growing. I know I talked to Macklin when I was in Boston doing that video with him, but he was just like, yeah, man, I didn't watch much college hockey being from Western Canada and Vancouver there. Right. But you know what? Last couple of years, obviously being committed to BU, he's watched it, and now he's one of the biggest names in college hockey. So
Cale Makar,
same thing. Yeah. So it's great to see, and that's why the game's going to keep growing and be just the best pipeline for the NHL.
And to pick up one quick point on that, and why I love, and I generally speaking tend to be a big fan of guys staying in school for at least 2 or often 3 years. I think sometimes there's that rush that I want to sign, I want to get into the system and keep playing and finding that next level. The case that I make and I want to celebrate and constantly come back to is Brock Faber, who did not just 2 years, but 3. Yeah. And then you saw it. As soon as he finished his 3rd year at Minnesota, he stepped right into the Wild lineup and was playing in the playoffs immediately.
Yep.
And I think that to anybody that says, I feel that the stress to leave after my 2nd year, am I ready? Am I not ready? Well, like Luke Hughes was ready. Like, we know that. Okay. Look at what he's doing right now in New Jersey. But I love that Brock came back for a 3rd year and said, I want to play for the Gophers 1 more year. And clearly, this is the important thing to point out. It did not hurt him at all that he came back for a 3rd year. It only helped him. Then he's playing for his hometown favorite team in the playoffs. It can all work out. And I think they're, again, I'm a dad, so I look at things a bit through that lens too, of just like helping young people grow. It's not that immediate, I need to sign right now. It's, wait a minute, what's in the best interest of my long career? Because in the NHL, the big money is to be made once you've already established yourself and you're getting the extension with your team. That's the contract. That's the one that changes your life.
Yep.
So make sure that by the time you turn pro, that you're really ready for it. And I think, Brock, I'm a huge fan of him on and off the ice. You guys both know what a high character person Brock is, from a great family.
Yep.
Listen to his story. I think all the players that are making that decision after 2 years, listen to Brock. Look what he did. And look what a great player he already is in the NHL. That 3rd year at Minnesota helped him out tremendously. And I think it's important to keep that in mind.
100%. I think just that 2nd year even is massive. I know Cooley left to the Coyotes. He's had a pretty good year, but still, just for maturity wise and figuring your life out, it's big, and make sure you're having it right. And now Faber, look at him. He's
could win the Calder.
High in the league in time on ice per game, and he might be going to the All-Star game here. So unreal kid, like you said, John. But yeah, I mean, it's worth it to stay, and it grows the game of college hockey as well. So
keeping us afloat as Minnesota fans. Thank goodness for Brock Faber.
He's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And same with Fantilli this year. He left after a year though, but he could have stayed. I mean, it doesn't hurt you to stay. It really doesn't, I don't think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you talk about just the bond you have with your friends there. Like, we talked to McRory, like, coming back, like, he was best friends with Fantilli last year. Like, it hurt to lose him. And then,
I thought he might stay for 1 more year, Fantilli, but
right. Yeah. We were like, really hoping for it. And then he comes back and he's having, the time of his life still, obviously.
Caulfield stayed. It benefited him though. Like, became so much better, and now huge.
Just give us 1 more, and then they come back. I'm like, give us 1 more after that. Like, come on, please. The 3rd year, especially though, development wise, for players like Faber, like if you're not fully ready for that moment,
he probably was like he could, but like
well, he could play for sure, but like now, I mean, he's a wizard out there. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to describe it otherwise. But I still want to get. Sorry to put you in a position here, John. I want to get a prediction for the Frozen Four. We do have to end here pretty soon. But Frozen Four, or give me maybe just your team to beat. Like, who are you? These players. I mean, Denver, another one, NCHC. Like, they're going to be tough to beat. But who are you seeing hosting that trophy here in Minnesota? Hope to see you there, John.
Yeah, St. Paul. Yeah.
I would love to go. I think it's going to be one of the best Frozen Fours ever. It's in a tremendous venue, as you know. That is the best place to have it. And by the way,
State of hockey.
Quick shout out, congrats to the Twin Cities on getting the hosting rights for the
huge
World Juniors in 2026.
Can't wait.
I think we're going to see a serious ECH presence all throughout that tournament there.
No doubt.
In the Twin Cities. I think you should do like live pod, pre-post, the whole show right from there.
We're sleeping there.
We might have to. Yeah.
We're
the
not
fan.
leaving.
It's gonna be electric.
They're kicking us out.
I hope we get one good rivalry matchup out of the Frozen Four. That's all I want. BC, BU, Minnesota, North Dakota, Michigan, Michigan State.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Give me something. That would be crazy.
So let's say this. I've got my Frozen Four. I think BU and BC both make it. BC for me is the team to beat. I just think that all those guys coming from the World Juniors, I think Qatar's going to have a huge second half. Their defensive core is very good. Fowler very easily could have been in goal for the final two games as well. He was so important. The U.S. does not win a gold medal without Jacob Fowler. He was absolutely essential to them winning that gold medal. So I think BC is the team to beat, that they'll be there. I think BU is going to be there as well. Denver, David Carl keeps it going, finds a way to get in. And then I'm going to go Michigan State, finding a way to be the fourth.
There we go.
You gotta have one Big Ten team in there. and when you've got that goaltender with Trey, and you've got some goal scoring with Ike Howard, you've got Red Savage, a veteran there. Love
Red Savage
play. He's tremendous.
Yeah.
I think that Michigan State, a bit of a great story, back in the Frozen Four for the first time in more than a decade. I think they find a way in. So you got BU, BC, the Spartans, and Denver. How about that?
That's an electric four right there.
Yeah, man, we're pumped to get there. It's gonna be a fun second half of the season for sure. And just good times right now in college hockey, in hockey. USA wins the gold. Huge for all the kids watching too. That's the next generation right there. And USA is gonna be a problem moving forward here in the tournament.
Good time to be an American.
Well, and a quick story on that. So it was great. Even after a long day of travel, the day after they win the gold medal in Sweden, the four players from Michigan all got to the rink last night with the trophy and their medals and were acknowledged before the game started, which at that point in time, it was a 7:00 game Eastern time. So by then, a long travel day, that's like 1 a.m. Sweden time.
That's ridiculous.
And they were still going.
Jersey's on too.
Adrenaline. Just going. And so I love that. They got out there. They got a nice ovation. Hopefully they got some sleep, because eventually they're going to have to get back to class and get back in rhythm. And by the way, so as we speak on Sunday, on Monday, I'm sure they're going to want to stay up late and watch the football team play for the national championship. So these guys got a lot going on in their lives right now. But I think to me, the big picture point to make, twofold. Number one, and Dave Starman made this point during the course of the broadcasts, we now in the United States have the most registered hockey players of any country in the world. And that is a huge point of pride. I realize different scales. We have so many people that live in our country, which is amazing. And that just is a huge advantage for us. And for us as a hockey community to be able to say proudly to our friends around the world, hey, we not only are we the current world junior gold medalist, but we've got the most players in the sport in our country of any country in the world. That's a huge point of pride and a great, I think, developmental point for the USA hockey development model that we talk about. And then you look at the geographic diversity of this team. 4 people from Florida. Z was from San Diego. All this, Cutter Gauthier grew up a lot of his life in Arizona before moving to Michigan. Of course, Cutter was born in Sweden. His dad was playing there. The different paths that you see. And this is what honestly I think makes other hockey playing countries nervous. When they start seeing great players who grew up in Arizona and Southern California and Florida with gold medals around their necks for Team USA, they get a little nervous. They say, wait a minute, these Americans now are figuring this out. They've got rinks everywhere. And I love the point, and I think Gavin Brindley told me this, I think a year ago. You know, he and Seamus grew up in Estero, Florida, very close to the rink there, which is right on, if you've been down there, like I-75 down around Naples, the ECHL affiliate, the Everblades for a long time, they're based right there. So we love, obviously, growing up in places like Michigan and Minnesota, where you've got outdoor rinks and everything else. But the point that Gavin made was, I lived like in the neighborhood next to the rink. I had ice whenever I wanted it. And I think that's one of the things we don't think about enough, that when you have a rink, a good facility, it doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees outside. If the ice is good, and if there's maybe not quite the same level of house leagues and adult leagues and everybody else crowding the ice from 6 a.m. till midnight. You got all this. You got this chance now to get on the ice whenever you want to.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
your
think
rink.
that's where the development is so robust, because Gavin and Seamus could get out there every day with their dad whenever they wanted to. And I think that's just an important part of the development and why USA Hockey is in such a great spot.
Yeah, no, it's great to see.
For sure.
The whole game's growing.
It's growing
and
everywhere.
now with social media too, and these kids taking over this next generation, it's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
So
Arizona State being huge in college hockey down south.
Picked up pretty quickly.
Right.
More.
Everything's, all these new schools coming in are doing well.
Yeah.
And it's good to see.
Good for the game, good for college hockey. I think you play a good part in that, John, too, helping us out with coverage, with these interviews, getting to know the
100%.
players, the drafts. I mean, everything helps, pushing towards. And now we're the best in the world. Safe to say?
Yeah.
We're to say it for now.
There you go.
Yeah. Gold.
Best in the world. And by the way, you think about all the good stuff coming. We've got, so the World Juniors are back in North America next year in Ottawa. You're going to have then, we hope, a World Cup of hockey coming back in 25.
Need it.
So a year from now, we're going to be getting ready for, think about that, the first best on best since the last World Cup, which was 2016. We've had almost a decade in between tournaments. And now we've got the potential of multiple Kachucks, multiple Hugheses, Austin Matthews in that tournament. Like, we've been waiting for a decade for this. And then the Olympics the year after that. So there are so many great things for us to look forward to as American hockey people, that everything we went through with not having the tournament for a period of time, not having NHL players in the Olympics. Trust me, there's a reward coming for that. And it's basically the next 2 years. So enjoy, everybody. But feel free to start. And this is the best thing too. Start mocking up who's on your Team USA for the World Cup. Just dream it up.
Yeah.
Who's in that decor? I mean, how many great defensemen are not going to make that decor because of how great we are right now as a country with defensemen? It's going to be awesome.
I'm glad it's not going to be my job to cut people, because that's going to be impossible.
Oh my God. Doing them the snip? No way. Yeah.
But good things ahead for college hockey and the U.S. for sure. And John, again, thank you so much for taking the time to come on our podcast today. It was such good insight for the fans out there.
Yeah.
Go tune in. Everything college hockey on Instagram, Team UCH on Twitter.
If you're not
following
Jon
Morosi, go follow JP.
They probably already are.
They should be.
It's Jon Morosi on Twitter, Instagram, everything, everywhere. Check him out on NHL Network. MLB Insider coming up here.
If you're an MLB fan, must watch. So, John, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
This was awesome.
Connor and James, thanks for the conversation and the invite. And again, thanks for all you guys do to grow the game as well, because I'm a big fan of the pod. I love listening. You guys bring out such personality from the players and what makes college hockey so special. So keep doing what you guys do.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate that a lot. But yeah, go check out our page. Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll see you next week on Pucks and Deep.
The ting goes.